Back on the show is Cody Stamann, who's got a huge fight coming up here against Tom Duquesnoy at UFC 216 on October 7th. Cody, how are you?
I'm great, man. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I understand you had a fishing trip this morning. How did that go?
My dad ended up getting a fish, so we both got one. Just going out fishing. It doesn't matter if you catch a fish, don't catch a fish. It's a great time, man. It's relaxing. You can take my mind off the fight for a minute and just kind of be in the river, listen to the water. I mean, everything about it is awesome.
Yeah, how important is that as a fighter to have moments like that where you can kind of just separate yourself from the gym and social media and everything else?
Yeah, I think every fighter kind of has something that they do. You know, Darren likes to shoot. I like to fish. I think every single guy has something that they really like to do that takes them out of that mentality. Because you can't be on social media and in the gym 24/7. You need a little bit of a mental break. I know, at least I do. And every single time I take like a little break like that, I have like I'm instantly recharged when I come back.
Yeah. Excellent. Let's talk about your UFC debut. I mean, we don't have to talk much. I was there. We were talking right after it. A great performance against Terrion Ware. I wanted to know, though, what was the feedback like after that win? You have a lot of support. I mean, that was evident when you competed for KOP. What were some of the messages you got after the fight?
Yeah, so I got a lot of positive feedback. I think the most negative feedback I got was probably just me and myself. But, you know, what can you do in 8 days? You can't really have the performance of your life in 8 days. But, you know, I felt like I did pretty well, and I think everyone back home was pretty proud of me.
How'd you celebrate after that fight?
Well, I didn't plan on celebrating at all. I pretty much went back to the gym maybe Tuesday or Wednesday after the fight, just because I hadn't been in the gym. You know, but before the fight, I had a full 8-day training camp. So I just got back to work, and then coincidentally, one of my friends had a wedding in Hawaii, and I was in the wedding, so I got to spend like a week in Hawaii. I came back from Hawaii. I was home for maybe 2 days, and then I got the phone call about fighting Duquesnoy, and here we are.
Yeah, and that's obviously a huge matchup. You know, how cool is it to not only be fighting Duquesnoy, but to be fighting at bantamweight, which is your natural weight class? Do you feel like people are really going to see the kind of the best version of yourself at 135 pounds?
Yeah, at 135 pounds, I feel like I have a physical presence. I'm a lot bigger than a lot of guys at 135. At 45, maybe I had a little bit of a speed advantage, but I feel like I have a speed and size advantage at 135. And I've never lost a round. I've never, knock on wood, and I'm not going to start now. But at 135, I've really felt like when I get in there, I feel like I'm like unstoppable, and that's the reason that I cut all the weight to get to that weight. So this fight is going to be the same.
Is it bittersweet at all? Because this is, a couple months before UFC 218 in Detroit. I mean, there's no guarantees that you're going to get to compete on that card. Was that kind of maybe going through your head at all when you took this matchup?
No, honestly, after I got back to the gym, it was getting to be August. I got back from Hawaii, and I was like, man, Detroit, that's kind of a long time. That's 4 or 5 months away. But man, I don't know, because I've been so active lately, the past year and a half. I'm used to competing every 3-4 months, and to take like a 5-6 month layoff for me, I was like, man, Detroit's a long ways away. I wouldn't mind getting a fight before then, and then just be in Detroit and hang out, or potentially fight. You never know what happens. They usually don't book guys that fast, but you get in the right person's ear, or you have the right performance, you can pretty much get what you want. So, the opportunity that came up with Duquesnoy, it was a no-brainer for me. I was ready to sign, that day.
And how do you feel like you match up against Duquesnoy?
Really tough European kid. I don't know. I think that if he had fought, his 16 pro fights or 15 pro fights leading up to the UFC in the United States, I don't think that he would be the prospect that he is. I think that there's a lot more depth in the Midwest and in the U.S. I mean, most of the really talented guys in the lower weight classes come from the United States. So I think that I fought as good or better competition than he has, and I definitely think I'm the best guy he's ever fought. And I'm looking forward to showing people what I can do with 8 weeks.
And how's training camp going at Michigan Top Team? Of course, your teammate and UFC vet Darren Cruikshank going to be headlining that KOP card coming up here at the end of September.
Yeah, so he fights he fights like pretty much 2 days before we leave. He's gonna fight the 30th, and then we leave on the 2nd. So I mean, we're literally it's literally a fast turnover. But yeah, training camp's been good. There's like 9 or 10 guys right now in the gym that are all below 155 pounds that are all getting ready for fights. So I mean, everybody has been consistently been working hard. Everyone's getting ready for fights, and when you have all the guys like that getting ready for fights, there's a different mentality in the gym. Everyone's really trying to kill each other. So training camp has been tough, but it's been really, really good also.
I saw TJ Laramie was up there training with you guys. I of course, got to mention him because he's a Canadian guy like myself. What's it like to train with him at all? He's a pretty talented kid for 19 years old.
TJ is a very talented kid, really, really, really talented guy. And sometimes I don't believe that he's 19 with how good he is. It's like, this doesn't make any sense. So TJ comes to Michigan Top Team, and then a couple of times a week I go and train with a Muay Thai coach, Dino Leon, that TJ and I both work with. So I go to Canada and work with him twice a week. So I actually train quite a bit with TJ, and that kid's going to be a stud. He'll be in the UFC, no doubt.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. How's the cut going, getting down to 35? You always make weight, but again, this is I think you've had your last 2 fights at featherweight, so this will be back down to bantamweight.
Yeah. So I mean, this is the lightest I've ever been, coming into 3 weeks before a fight. Being that I'm in the UFC now, everything is different. Everything's so much more structured. I have so much more time to prepare meals and do everything. I already know what I'm going to eat all week. I know what I'm going to do all week as far as training. I've never really been this organized. It's always kind of like trained when I have time, work, and I'm trying to balance all these things. And now my sole focus is just on fighting. So I think that that alone is going to like improve my performance, and my weight cut's going to be so much better just because everything's been organized, everything. And if you really want to reach that level in this sport, I feel like you need to be like that. Things need to be structured.
Yeah, completely agree with that. October 7th, how do you see this fight ending with you and Tom Duquesnoy?
Like I say, every single time we get on the show, I always say the same thing. I don't know how it ends. You never know what's going to happen there. I know at the end of the night, I'm getting my hand raised, and I'm going to walk out with a W and maybe even look to call out somebody for December 2nd. Who knows?
Well, any names you can mention on here, or are you going to save that for the post-fight?
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it, honestly. But anybody really, I don't care. Like I told Jason House and Iridium Sports, I'm like, yeah, I'll fight anybody anytime. Just give me more than 8 days, and we'll make it happen.
Everyone's got to check it out. It's UFC 216 coming up here on October 7th. Cody, always a pleasure. Appreciate you joining me here, especially on a Sunday. Where can people get a hold of you on social media? And if you got any thank yous or shout outs, the floor is yours.
Yeah, social media, everything's just Cody Stamann. I really appreciate having me. Shout out to everyone at Michigan Top Team. Thanks for getting me prepared. I'm ready to whoop some ass here in 3 weeks and counting. So, tune in. I think it's on FS1. Kind of like the second card before the second to last fight before the main card. So, tune in. I'm going to beat the shit out of this French guy.
Perfect.